Ancient Romans did not generally differentiate between rats and mice, instead referring to the former as Mus maximus, big mouse, and the latter as Mus minimus, little mouse. On the Isle of Man, there is a taboo against the word rat. The rat, sometimes referred to as a mouse, is the first of the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac. People born in this year are expected to possess qualities associated with rats, including creativity, intelligence, honesty, generosity, ambition, a quick temper, and wastefulness. People born in a year of the rat are said to get along well with monkeys and dragons, and to get along poorly with horses. In Indian tradition, rats are seen as the vehicle of Ganesha, and a rat's statue is always found in a temple of Ganesh. In the northwestern Indian city of Deshnok, the rats at the Karni Mata temple are held to be destined for reincarnation as sadhus, Hindu holy men. The attending priests feed milk and grain to the rats, of which the pilgrims also partake. European associations with the rat are generally negative. For instance, rats is used as a substitute for various vulgar interjections in the English language. These associations do not draw, per se, from any biological or behavioral trait of the rat, but possibly from the association of rats and fleas with the 14th century medieval plague called the Black Death. Rats are seen as vicious, unclean, parasitic animals that steal food and spread disease. However, some people in European cultures keep rats as pets and conversely find them to be tame, clean, intelligent, and playful. Rats are often used in scientific experiments. Animal rights activists allege the treatment of rats in this context is cruel. The term, lab rat, is used, typically in a self-effacing manner, to describe a person whose job function requires them to spend a majority of their work time engaged in bench-level research, such as postgraduate students in the sciences. Rats are frequently blamed for damaging food supplies and other goods, or spreading disease. Their reputation has carried into common parlance. In the English language, rat is often an insult or is generally used to signify an unscrupulous character. It is also used, as a synonym for the term narc, to mean an individual who works as a police informant or who has turned state's evidence. Writer-director Preston Sturges created the humorous alias, Rat Skywatsky, for a soldier who seduced, impregnated, and abandoned the heroine of his 1944 film, The Miracle of Morgan's Creek. It is a term, noun and verb, in criminal slang for an informant. To rat on someone is to betray them by informing the authorities of a crime or misdeed they committed. Describing a person as rat-like usually implies he or she is unattractive and suspicious. Among trade unions, the word rat is also a term for non-union employers or breakers of union contracts, and this is why unions use inflatable rats. Depictions of rats in fiction are historically inaccurate and negative. The most common falsehood is the squeaking almost always heard in otherwise realistic portrayals, i.e. non-anthropomorphic. While the recordings may be of actual squeaking rats, the noise is uncommon. They may do so only if distressed, hurt, or annoyed. Normal vocalizations are very high-pitched, well outside the range of human hearing. Rats are also often cast in vicious and aggressive roles when in fact, their shyness helps keep them undiscovered for so long in an infested home. The actual portrayals of rats vary from negative to positive, with a majority in the negative and ambiguous. The rat plays a villain in several mouse societies, from Brian Jacques Redwall and Robin Jarvis's The Deptford Mice, to the roles of Disney's Professor Ratigan and Kate DiCamillo's Roscuro and Botticelli. They have often been used as a mechanism in horror, being the titular evil in stories like The Rats or H.P. Lovecraft's The Rats in the Walls and in films like Willard and Ben. Another terrifying use of rats is as a method of torture, for instance in Room 101 in George Orwell's 1984 or The Pit and the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe. Selfish helpfulness, those willing to help for a price, has also been attributed to fictional rats. Templeton, from E.B. White's Charlotte's Web, repeatedly reminds the other characters that he is only involved because it means more food for him, and the cellar rat of John Masefield's The Midnight Folk requires bribery to be of any assistance. By contrast, the rats appearing in the Dr. Dolittle books tend to be highly positive and likable characters, many of whom tell their remarkable life stories in the Mouse and Rat Club established by the animal-loving doctor. Some fictional works use rats as the main characters. Notable examples include the society created by O'Brien's Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of NIMH, and others include Dr. Rat, and Rizzo the Rat from the Muppets. Pixar's 2007 animated film Ratatouille is about a rat described by Roger Ebert as earnest, lovable, determined, and gifted, who lives with a Parisian garbage boy turned chef. Mon oncle d'Amérique, My American Uncle, a 1980 French film, illustrates Henri Labourt's theories on evolutionary psychology and human behaviors by using short sequences in the storyline showing lab rat experiments. In Harry Turtledove's science fiction novel Homeward Bound, humans unintentionally introduce rats to the ecology at the home world of an alien race which previously invaded Earth and introduced some of its own fauna into its environment. Bertram Chandler pitted the space-bound protagonist of a long series of novels, Commodore Grimes, against giant, intelligent rats who took over several stellar systems and enslaved their human inhabitants. The stainless steel rat is nickname of the human protagonist of a series of humorous science fiction novels written by Harry Harrison. Rats, therianthropic creatures able to take the shape of a rat, have appeared in the fantasy or horror genre since the 1970s. The term is a neologism coined in analogy to werewolf. The concept has since become common in role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons and fantasy fiction like the Anita Blake series. One of the oldest and most historic stories about rats is The Pied Piper of Hamelin, in which a rat catcher leads away an infestation with enchanted music. The piper is later refused payment, so he in turn leads away the town's children. This tale, traced to Germany around the late 13th century, has inspired adaptations in film, theater, literature, and even opera. The subject of much research, some theories have intertwined the tale with events related to the Black Plague, in which black rats played an important role. Fictional works based on the tale that focus heavily on the rat aspect include Pratchett's The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents, and Belgian graphic novel Le Bal du Rat Mort, The Ball of the Dead Rat. Furthermore, a linguistic phenomenon when a WH expression drags with it an entire encompassing phrase to the front of the clause has been named Pied Piping after Pied Piper of Hamelin. Rats are various medium-sized, long-tailed rodents. Species of rats are found throughout the order Rodentia, but stereotypical rats are found in the genus Rattus. Other rat genera include Neotoma, pack rats, Bandicota, bandicoot rats, and Dipodomys, kangaroo rats. Rats are typically distinguished from mice by their size. Usually the common name of a large muroid rodent will include the word rat, while a smaller muroid's name will include mouse. The common terms rat and mouse are not taxonomically specific. There are 56 known species of rats in the world. Specially bred rats have been kept as pets at least since the late 19th century. Pet rats are typically variants of the species brown rat, but black rats and giant pouched rats are also sometimes kept. Pet rats behave differently from their wild counterparts depending on how many generations they have been kept as pets. Pet rats do not pose any more of a health risk than pets such as cats or dogs. Tamed rats are generally friendly and can be taught to perform selected behaviors. Selective breeding has brought about different color and marking varieties in rats. Genetic mutations have also created different fur types, such as Rex and hairless. Congenital malformation in selective breeding have created the Dumbo rat, a popular pet choice due to their low, saucer-shaped ears. A breeding standard exists for rat fanciers wishing to breed and show their rat at a rat show.